What is going on, everybody? My name is Kneeckoh, and welcome back to another Pokemon Scarlet and Violet video. Today, we have to talk about the Paradox Pokemon in the room, okay? We need to talk about Iron Hands. I already made a video like this where I broke down how to counter Flutter Mane because we all kind of initially thought that Flutter Mane was going to be a much bigger threat than what it seems like it's actually going to be come Series 2, and that was mainly just based on pre-Series 1 information. Everybody really liked Flutter Mane. We were seeing a ton of it. Series 1 happened. Now we're moving into Series 2, and we actually are more worried about Iron Hands right now. This Pokemon is going off. So if this is your first time here on the channel, make sure you are subbed for more videos like this in the future. I post daily competitive Pokemon content, and if you are new, also check out the Discord with people over there playing Pokemon all the time. But let's get into it. So I've got some stuff here. This is on VGC Pokepaste on Twitter. For a couple different tournaments, we're able to look at some of these results because right now we don't have any official information. Series 2 has not gone live yet, so we don't have any actual usage stats outside of what's happening in tournaments that are already taking place. So if we look at this Series 2 Limitless tournament that happened, Iron Hands had a 37.27% usage rate. 37.27. That's out of 10,000. Well, not out of 10,000. Excuse me. Out of 1,041 teams, there were 388 Iron Hands being used. That is a lot of Iron Hands. Now, obviously, you know, we still saw a lot of Flutter Manes. We saw a lot of Iron Bundles. Iron Bundles also another very popular Pokemon. I feel like this is less of an issue to really play around than Iron Hands. And we'll talk about that here in a second. Then if I scroll down here, I know it's here somewhere. The Pokebros had another tournament. There it is. So the top 16, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like, look at all the Iron Hands here, right? The number 1 team was an Iron Hands team. Iron Hands in second place. Then we got no Iron Hands there. Iron Hands, Iron Hands. Like, they're everywhere. It's such a popular Paradox Pokemon right now, right? Very, very good Pokemon. So I think we just have to kind of talk about it and why it's so good and how to kind of work around this and what I think we'll actually start seeing a lot more play. And you can actually, if you take a look at these teams here, you're already starting to see kind of a trend. There's another one right there, you know. Let's see here. There's a good one there. Let's see, there's one, like there's a very clear winner here that's handling this Pokemon pretty effectively. There's a couple others that play very well into it as well, and we're going to talk about all that. So Iron Hands is just absolutely going off, right? Previously fake out users weren't super popular, the biggest one being like Hariyama in Series 1, Hariyama or Palmont, right? Because people were running Revival Blessing Palmont. These were the two most prevalent fake out users. And then there were some Tinkatons toward the end of Series 1. And there's like a lot of Tinkatons being played right now because of Mold Breaker, right? So these are your most prevalent. But now we have a Pokemon that doesn't have to rely necessarily on, you know, Guts Flame Orb to start going off, right? It's a very offensive option for getting lots of damage off because there is the potential, you know, you can play this with an energy booster. I don't recommend it. That's not really what I think is a great idea. Grass Terra typing, right? You can't play this with energy booster. You could play it in the sun. You don't have to is the big thing. This Pokemon is a good Pokemon just outright, right? So looking at its stats here, 140 base attack, 154 HP with 108 defense. Super, super good. What you can really do with this, boom, boom, Assault Vest. Hello. That's what the most popular set is for this right now. And then like Drain Punch is on this. Thunder Punch is here. Why is Thunder Punch not showing up? There it is. Thunder Punch is here. And then what else are people running right now? Thunder Punch. Hold on. Why can I not think of it? Ice Punch is an option. You can run Ice Punch. Oh, Volt Switch, duh. That's what people are running. Running Volt Switch just to rotate this and be able to use more fake outs. Like, it's just a very, very popular Pokemon. Ice Punch is an option, though, as well. Because it just has huge damage, has a lot of coverage options in terms of its moveset, and it's just super bulky naturally. Like, it's a very, very bulky Pokemon, and you're able to do a lot of really big work with this thing. Just on its own, right? But it's just very prevalent because of that. You're able to, the main Terra typing you're seeing is grass typing because you can play into a Mungus that way. You know, you ignore You ignore the issues that you have with like Rage Powder and Spore and things like that. And you also ignore your weakness to ground types with this Pokemon, right? So playing with Grass Terra type is just super big. Just a very, very popular Pokemon right now. And it doesn't require the Quark Drive activation in order to be such a solid Pokemon. It just doesn't. It's just good. And again, I don't think Hariyama is inherently bad. I think that's the thing a lot of people have to realize about these Paradox Pokemon is that they can fill the role that a previous Pokemon filled, like Hariyama, can be filled by Iron Hands. And it's not that the other Pokemon's bad, it's just the other Pokemon can do a little bit more. Looking at the stats here, you know, we have higher attack, we have better defensive stats, we have such a fantastic HP stat. Like, this is just a bulkier Hariyama that doesn't require Flame Orb, right? So there's just some things that these Pokemon can do that fill the role of the other Pokemon without making the other Pokemon inherently bad. But we're seeing tons of it. It's just all over the place, right? And I think we need to talk about how to handle it, because it's really tough once this thing kind of gets rolling with Drain Punches to get this thing off the board. And it's very, very popular for that reason, right? The big thing I think that everyone can start thinking about, because for one, a big Pokemon, not Arceus, why are you here? Kingambit was very popular, right? Series 1. Very popular, super strong Pokemon, and understandably so. However, Iron Hands just Drain Punches this thing and it goes bye-bye, right? And what are you gonna, you can Terra into a flying type like it used to, Thunder Punch, right? This Pokemon just doesn't see as much play right now because of the existence of this. So you're not seeing actually as many of the you know, Defiant Pokemon that you were worried about previously, right? Defiant's not seeing as much play because we're not seeing as much Annihilate in Series 2 just based on usage stats. We're not seeing as much Kingambit based on usage stats. So big thing that's going to come back that we really weren't using a ton, like it was still seeing use, but it wasn't getting as much use because of all the Defiant Pokemon in the format. Arcanine is going to come back big time, right? For one, you have Intimidate to shut down Iron Hands, which is fantastic. That alone makes it very good. But also you have Will-O-Wisp. And once this gets Will-O-Wisp, it's really hard for it to come back. It makes it just kind of useless and just kind of sits there because most people are running Assault Vest with like this set. So you're having the damage, you're not doing that much, and it makes their Terra type pretty useless, right? So you know, the standard Arcanine stuff, let's throw that on there. We got Snarl here, and we got Extreme Speed. The real fun thing to do right now with this Pokemon is throw Covert Cloak on it, right? Covert Cloak is very cool for this Pokemon because you can throw it out immediately in front of an Iron Hands. You can get faked out and then still burn them that turn, right? That's the big thing with this Pokemon. Very, very nice. Just extremely nice Pokemon for dealing with Iron Hands. And you saw it when I was showing off the usage stats for these tournaments recently, that Arcanine was seeing a lot of play, and it's for this reason. Arcanine just plays so well right now. The other option is Safety Goggles. I really like Safety Goggles on Arcanine as well because it plays so much better into Amoonguss. But definitely, like, this Pokemon just kind of goes off in front of Iron Hands, and it's going to see a ton of use. The next is another of the Paradox Pokemon, and that's Great Tusk. Great Tusk is going to see a lot of play because of this. We're going to see a spike in Great Tusk use. I have a feeling the further we get into Series 2, once it actually starts on ladder, Great Tusk is a really good Pokemon. And in terms of speed, you're just outspeeding this after turn 1 when it, you know, does its fake out thing. This Pokemon's going to go crazy on it. So, the fun thing with this actually is if you max out its speed and you give it a Jolly Nature, you're actually outspeeding Timid Goldango, which is super, super nice because this also plays super well into Goldango. This is another Pokemon that can benefit from Assault Vest, but I prefer Energy Booster, at least in the testing that I've done with it. But the main thing is, like, you get Headlong Rush on this thing, you get Close Combat, you can do, like, Iron Head or Knock Off, or even, I think it even gets access to Play Rough. It does get access to Play Rough, which is kind of crazy. So this Pokemon has, a fairly decent move pool that plays very well into Iron Hands. It plays extremely well into that Pokemon, and it's just very, very strong. I think you're going to see a lot of Great Tusk usage because of that. Just because it plays so well into Iron Hands right now, especially with, you know, being such a high speed. I mean, you could literally just do, but like 44 points here, do that, and then, yeah, just that right there. You still max out your attack with the Energy Booster, but you're faster than like Goldangos and things like that. So like this is a really just defensively powerful Pokemon. We can actually even turn this down a bit. We just need to be 1 point higher, so then we can have even more special defense, right? Like, this is a really good set for this Pokemon to outspeed Goldangos and other Pokemon that it's super good against in the format, but also handle Iron Hands. Like, an Iron Hands isn't going to want to look at this Pokemon at all. Other things are going to be other Will-O-Wisp setters, like Volcarona could be really good into this. Anything that's going to play into Will-O-Wisp very well. Another one, I think a lot of people are kind of sleeping on this Pokemon right now, but it's really good, especially if you throw like a wide lens on it and give it Will-O-Wisp. Boom. And then you got speed control too. You got Quash. So boom, there it is. This Pokemon plays very, very well. For one, your Drain Punches don't hit, which is great. You don't got to worry about Drain Punches landing on the Sableye. And then, you know, you just have to just Will-O-Wisp it and do your thing. At least with the current set, a lot of people are probably going to end up starting to run like a Lumberry or something on this thing to kind of get around that. But again, you lose a lot of defensive capability from this Pokemon by doing that. So I think Will-O-Wisp is going to be even bigger than it was in Series 1. I mean, it was already very prevalent with Volcaronas, with Rotoms, things of that nature. It's just going to see even more use here now. The big thing is this thing actually really thrives under Trick Room. You really don't want to let this get Trick Room set up because it plays very, very well under Trick Room. Just because it is a slower Pokemon with base 50 speed, it's just kind of sluggish. So getting like it's even slower than Great Tusk. Like looking at the stats, speed wise, like it's not good to let Trick Room get set up. So if you can avoid it or get this Pokemon off the field or like burnt before the Trick Room goes off, you're gonna put yourself in just a better situation. We're probably gonna see a lot of this with Farigiraf, and it's just gonna replace the Hariyama. So maybe bring your own Trick Room counter. So let's say, for example, we are facing against a Trick Room setter. What you can do actually, and I think this might see a little spike in use here. Because this Pokemon is still good, but it's not as good as we thought it was going to be. We're going to see a lot of this, I have a feeling, right? You have Trick Room just to avoid other Pokemon setting Trick Room, and then you can run like Dazzling Gleam or Moonblast and Shadow Ball, and run like max special attack with a Focus Sash on this thing. It just kind of run the show. Because it can't fake you out. You have Focus Sash, so if it does go to hit you, it doesn't matter. Right? Because the Trick Room setter is always going to try and set Trick Room. It's just something that a lot of Trick Room players struggle with, especially, you know, lower on the ladder. But you do something like this, and this Pokemon just shuts down Trick Room, and then you hit it with a Dazzling Gleam, and Iron Hands absolutely hates Flutter Mane as well. So there's like a lot of options to dealing with this Pokemon. We're just going to have to kind of shift the way we're playing right now, because this Pokemon is just absolutely crazy. Again, I want to reiterate that Great Tusk, I think, is going to be one of the most solid options for dealing with it, especially because you can, like, if you even want to play into their Terra typing a little bit, you could do something like this and just rock this Pokemon after it Terras, right? Because most are running Grass Terra typing. But the other thing with Great Tusk is right now, this is super popular, and you're actually seeing a lot of Iron Hands with this Pokemon. Hold on, let me get rid of this. You're seeing a lot of Iron Hands with this Pokemon. Garganacl with a Poison Terra typing. And the reason you're seeing this is because, one, Poison just great defensively for Garganacl. We found that out after the San Diego Regionals, right? But the thing is, you're like Salt carrying with this, and you're protecting, or yeah, you're recovering, Wide Guard, and Protect, right? So you're just stalling out your Salt cures with this Pokemon. And Iron Hands is using Volt Switch to rotate out and keep faking out Pokemon to prevent them from dealing with Garganacl effectively. But Great Tusk just plays super, super well into Garganacl, especially if you have something that has like Helping Hand or something. You're going to do huge damage into Garganacl, especially if it decides to Poison Terra. So you're in a really strong position using this particular Pokemon, both into Iron Hands as well as Garganacl. So definitely a lot of valid options in bringing Great Tusk. I think Great Tusk is going to be one of the most significant counters to this Pokemon. But I think those are just a couple ideas for dealing with this Pokemon. Again, Will-O-Wisp setters are going to be the big things for dealing with Iron Hands, but other Pokemon, you know, that just do outright damage are going to be very successful, like Great Tusk. So those are my thoughts. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think is going to be the best counter for Iron Hands, and what Paradox Pokemon outside of Iron Hands you think we're going to see a lot of. Right now, it seems like we're going to see Iron Hands, Flutter Mane, Iron Bundle is seeing a lot of play, and then like Roaring Moon. Those are the ones you're seeing the most of, and then some Brute Bonnet here and there. I'm very curious what your guys' thoughts are. But if you found the video entertaining and helpful, please leave a like and subscribe for more videos like this in the future. Also, be sure to check out the Discord with people over there playing Pokemon all the time. And if you want to see more from me, check out this video where my Mousehold team really just, there were so many close battles here, and Population Bomb was putting in so much work. It was just a really fun series of battles that we actually saw a lot of interesting Terra types and Pokemon being used. I thought it was a really cool video. Also, check out this other video where I talk about Series 2 team building and how you should really approach team building going into Series 2, because I don't really think there's a huge difference between how you team build in Series 1 versus going into Series 2. But until next time, peace.